It is not.
It's Wuthering Heights.
Yes! You got
it! Bookstore
Nice.
knowledge, you motherfucker.
Yeah, that one, 1847.
Wuthering Heights.
Nice work.
Never read it at all.
Never.
There we go.
Yes.
Stand by. Going to air.
Stand by, Phil.
5,
Stand by music.
4,
Stand by announce.
3, 2, 1.
And fade up.
All aboard! And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Turn to page 394.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountain?
That is so fetch.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dive.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Where's my super suit?
Hey, Fat Lard, come get some dinner.
Well,
I am not drinking any f***ing Merlot.
And I'm going to try to forget the fact that you're a girl.
But dogs can look up.
Oh, durga.
you tell me what I saw this woman?
This is the Polar Express.
All right. Well, welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of 20 Years, 4 Beers. We are a podcast dedicated to rewatching movies from at least 2 decades ago, while simultaneously enjoying a minimum of 4 modern beers. My name is Steve, and this is my big brother,
Tim.
Say it again.
Tim.
Yep, you were muted.
I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, I forgot to hit the button. And we are coming to you from just outside Minneapolis, Minnesota. In this episode, we will be covering our 3rd film from M. Night Shyamalan.
Sure. Yep.
And probably a favorite of ours. Hopefully it holds up. In 2004's The Village. Before we start, though, we typically take a few moments to discuss any new movies or television that we have watched recently. And in a rare occurrence of pre-planning on our part, we have even discussed this ahead of time. We have hand-selected one film that we loved and one film that we did not love. No. We'll put it that way. The first film in question is a film that I saw in theaters, and we may have even talked about a couple years ago when it came out, just a little bit. But Tim finally watched recently, and that was Jurassic World Dominion. Tim, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
So I had heard that it was massively disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I mean, it can't be that bad. And it was one of these nights where Ellen had gone to bed early and I was working from home the next day. And I'm like, I ain't got no commute. So I'm going to stay up late and watch something that she's not going to want to watch.
Yeah.
Randomly scrolled through like, you know.
You bought it like a year ago.
Exactly. Because I'm like, it's going to be worth it to have the entire franchise. So watched it. And I think I texted you 20 minutes in.
Give or take. Yeah.
And said, this is straight garbage.
Yeah.
I cannot believe I have 2 more hours of this.
Yep.
And it is hard to describe how offensively and like just surprisingly bad it is.
Yeah, before we even keep going, if you haven't watched the movie, I'm not going to be a damn about spoilers at this point. Like, you deserve to be spoiled because it's not good. So,
It's in all aspects. I'm shocked considering the source material and the pedigree of...
Yeah, and Colin Chernova or whatever came back to do it.
Yeah.
And he had such a good idea for the second one that they totally pissed away.
Yeah, and Jurassic World is a good reboot.
Jurassic World is a good reboot.
The first one, like, did a good job of honoring the original, but expanding it, and it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
It is, across the board, so awful, and the performances are useless.
There's not a good one in the entire thing.
No.
Nope.
The nostalgia thing, they're bringing in these characters before, like, the original characters. The only, actually, one I could stand was Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, because he's just...
Because he's become larger than what we saw in the original.
Yeah.
Like, he's just being himself at this point.
He's good, but he's not like, oh my God.
It's so bad. So bad.
Yeah, I remember thinking partway through, like, this is almost irredeemably bad.
Yes.
The locust thing is just
stupid,
dumb.
Yes.
Like, somebody came up with, let's bring back locusts.
Yeah.
And somebody thought, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
That's going to go real well.
Yeah. So you're not even like fighting dinosaurs at that point.
Exactly.
Some people are trying to save them. Some like it makes no sense. By the time you're in fucking Italy or wherever they are,
in it. Yeah.
With
exactly.
a dinosaur
Some sanctuary.
sanctuary where you're like, I'm in Italy.
Yeah.
Like this is absurd. I don't know much about the climate of Italy.
Yeah.
I like, so just fair warning here, full disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
What I do know is it ain't fucking tropical.
No. Exactly.
I've had a few beers. It's going to be F-bombs today.
No, we
and I
were
don't
just
care.
going
I'm
hog
so
wild right away.
offended by that movie because it is so bad. And it actually, what's even worse is a couple of small fixes could have made it tolerable. And number one, if you just insist on having an asshole billionaire, whatever,
Archetype
fine,
villain. Yeah.
but it doesn't work in this. And if you're going to do it in this, it should have been no locusts, number one, but billionaire hires old school, our original OG people from the first ones, first one especially. They hire him and they convince them to be like, hey, we need to start capturing these dinosaurs, the ones that are left, and bringing them to this new island that I have for some sort of zoological or some sort of preservative, whatever.
Yep.
But then it turns out that big bad guy is actually doing this for his own, to try and restart it.
Yes.
Sure, fine. But then at least they're trying to get him off of the rest of the world, which is stupid anyway.
Yeah.
So that's number one, if you're going to have that. Number two, like, the locust. It just should have been gone. And number three, there was no real, like, peril of any kind.
No.
Number four, stop coming up with new genetic dinosaurs.
Yes.
Dinosaurs are scary.
Yeah.
I don't need yet another dinosaur that doesn't exist or is some hybrid.
Yes.
It's just dumb. And it, like, they could have made a few little tweaks. The helicopter pilot, the plane pilot could have been his daughter, Goldblum's daughter from the second one.
Yes.
You could have really kind of had some fun connections there.
Yep.
But then the whole way, you've got a billionaire trying to get all these dinosaurs onto an island, and it's like these naturalists are trying to protect them, but it turns out, oh no, but now billionaire dies, and guess what? No, he has no heir, so now the dinosaurs are protected again because they're on this island, right? Like something like that, sure. Italy, it ain't tropical.
No. It could have literally been anything different than what
it's
it
so
was.
bad.
It was like embarrassing actually watching it for the actors.
It's bad.
You'd be like, oh God, you signed up because it's contractually obligated.
Yeah.
And you had to put some effort into this, and it's so embarrassing.
I thought The Rise of Skywalker was the worst third film in a long time.
Yeah.
But Dominion makes Rise of Skywalker like, oh, that's actually like Citizen Kane. Like, I mean, it is that bad.
And I guess I just had no idea going into it, be like, oh, wow. So if you somehow were curious to wrap it up, just don't. Just
don't. Side note,
is good about it.
Like, I went on a few dates with somebody recently, and I'm not saying that this was why it ended, but she told me that she preferred the new trilogy over the old trilogy.
Of Jurassic World?
Yeah, or Jurassic Park.
Sure.
The Jurassic World trilogy over the Jurassic Park. And I was like,
check, please.
Yeah, I was kind of like,
we're going to split the check.
What? I know, I paid. I was like, you dumbass. All right, well, then the second film that we will then praise here is obviously one from this year and one that we have both loved. That is the newest mega collab of the MCU in Deadpool and Wolverine. Once again, Tim, get us started.
Well, you saw it in the theater.
I saw it in the theater, yeah.
And texted right away.
Yeah.
And I heard nothing but great things of people that enjoyed it. So thankfully this week it came out on digital, bought it right away. And by this point, 3 days later, I've watched it twice.
Yeah.
I cannot believe they pulled this movie off.
Yeah.
It is such a fun, over-the-top ride. The joke per second ratio
It's got to be a
insane.
record.
It's just the cameos they brought back. And I'd had two of them. I wouldn't say spoiled.
I kind of had all of them spoiled. It ticked me off. And I was like a week in and they got spoiled.
Sure.
I was like, you dicks on the internet.
True. And I kind of like steered away, but by this point I was surprised that there were still some. I'm like, I didn't see that coming.
So this is a spoiler alert in terms of like if something coming up here,
Sure.
Maybe move forward about 5 minutes, folks. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And but why it was great to me was I think Logan is top 2 comic book story movie in my view. Like just under The Dark Knight. They're different, but I would take Logan's like completion of that story to be second to none. And so I honestly was like, why would you bring him back?
Yeah. Why are you doing this?
And how they were able to respect that and lean into what I think is actually a problem for the MCU, the multiverse crap.
Yeah,
I
think this actually is. They're benefiting from the multiverse.
Yes, this was their in, and they actually were able to kind of propel it and improve upon it.
Sure.
To kind of go from like different Wolverines.
Yes.
And have the one they find be in their view the worst one.
Yep.
And so it's like, I'm off. You got me ready. Like, I'm all for this. Like, it's not just here's some superhero stuff.
Yeah.
What I actually think about, having seen it a few times, is when I say they were able to pull it off, I had no doubt it'd be funny.
Right.
And there'd be some emotional weight. But again, the reverence they had for bringing the 20th Century Fox arcs into it, in terms of like they couldn't just stop or do nothing with it. They had to bring stuff in, but the way they did it,
the literal like graveyard, of,
fighting over the
logo.
marquee logo. I don't know, when it got done, it was
the
like
post credit or the credits
the
with
credit
Green
sequence.
Day. Yeah,
and I was like, God damn you guys, this totally worked. That it was not just for the sake of let's do it because we're fun, but we talked about fan service.
Yeah,
it gets a bad rap sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
This I think was the best because it was not just bringing 2 characters back, but it's the world in which they've inhabited.
Yeah.
Now under the Disney lens, I'm so happy that Disney didn't sanitize it. Like they went like hard.
Except for, I love that they keep addressing the fact that Disney's number one thing was that they cannot do or have cocaine. It was like they just
they
hard
wanted it so
like
bad.
Yeah, they wanted it so bad and they couldn't have cocaine.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the jokes were amazing.
I agree.
The 2 of them together.
Yep.
Seeing Hugh Jackman again in it.
But I like that it's just not. He's not the Wolverine that we knew. No. He's a failed Wolverine in a lot of ways, and so him in that role in a different way is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, the jokes all land like they all. I think I loved the fact that it felt like they outwardly did the 20th Century Fox cameos because everyone assumed there would be Marvel cameos in there.
True.
They felt like they were like, oh, you think we're going to have Doctor Strange and all these other, like, no, we're going to have
like deep cut,
the deep cut ones, not even fan servicey because a lot of them weren't even fan favorites, Elektra especially.
Yes.
So really well done. I love that they have an Oscar push going on now. They're putting a bunch of money into an actual Oscar push for Best Picture and especially Best Supporting Actor for Jackman. It's one of the absolute best uses of a pop culture song. I mean, it's like with Stranger Things and Running Up That Hill, like you know what I mean. In season 4, it's kind of the same thing. Like I know you're not on social media or TikTok, but like Madonna was everywhere. That version of Like a Prayer,
Like a Prayer.
Yeah, it is unexpectedly. I knew it was going to be good.
Yes,
and I know some critics didn't like it, but whatever. But I didn't realize how much I would actually almost emotionally be.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he saves the day at the end, you're kind of like, I'm kind of crying here. I don't even know this Wolverine.
Because again, with the music together,
it's
and
perfect.
when they brought X-23 in,
that was
like,
the only one. Did you know she was coming?
I saw it at the last.
I was like, God dang it!
I know. I was like, they put that in the trailer. I'm like, wow, I don't mind spoilers, but why would you put that in the trailer?
That's kind of one of the emotional ones. I was like, all right.
Yes, but that it was great. I so impressed with it.
Yeah. All right. Well, as mentioned, we are going to rewatch another supernatural, I guess, thriller in The Village. I did my best here. The movie is the story of a small, isolated 19th century village and the small group of families who inhabit it. The group lives in a world of mysterious monsters just outside their borders, but soon a medical emergency sends the young, blind daughter of the town's leader out in an attempt to try and obtain life-saving medicine. As with all things M. Night, there is a secret to be revealed, and the film has long been near the top of both of our favorite M. Night Shyamalan films. The film is written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan and stars Bryce Dallas Howard, Joaquin Phoenix, Adrian Brody, William Hurt, Sigourney Weaver, Brendan Gleeson, Cherry Jones, Celia Weston, and a young Jesse Eisenberg.
If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
This is a Social Network,
You don't have to be an intellectual property expert to understand the difference between right and wrong.
where we take a look back at the critical and fan reception from 2 decades ago.
Mark!
As usual, Tim takes point on this, so take it away, Tim.
You better lawyer up, asshole, because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
$1 billion.
The IMDb rating is 6.6 out of 10.
That's about right. See, I think there's a lot of people who did, like, even we have the.
I'm not surprised by it.
I know it's up on the screen, and you kind of have like the tomato meter is 54, and like, yeah, it's like, I think we might be in the almost in the minority on this movie,
confident.
but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Anyway,
well, yeah,
6.6. All right.
David Anson of Newsweek magazine said the entire solemn, pretentious edifice that is the village eventually collapses on its own fake weight. Ian Nathan of Empire magazine, however, had a different opinion, said the village is made with such elegance, atmosphere, and wonderfully mannered performances, it will nestle deep inside your head long after the twist is revealed.
Nestle deep.
Roger Ebert, care to guess what he gave it?
I guess it's like a 2.
1.
Yeah,
out of 4.
I don't think he liked it.
It made his list. I was reading.
Oh,
like,
I did
one
see
of his
that.
like
His
most
hated
list.
films.
Yes,
that's probably because he had high expectations based off of the 3 previous films.
Could be,
and that's Ebert's own fat problem.
Stupid idiot.
Idiot.
He said the village is a colossal miscalculation.
So are you.
A movie based on a premise that cannot support it, with a premise so transparent it would be laughable were the movie not so deadly serious. Academy Awards that year up for 1 nomination, and we'll probably talk about it. Not surprising. The original score for James Newton Howard.
Yep. All right. Well, so there we go. We are going to pause and rewatch the movie. If you are so inclined, go right ahead and watch along with us. If not, we'll see you on the other side of this break. Here now is The Village.
When we are married, will you dance with me? I find dancing very agreeable. Why can you not say what is in your head?
Why can you not stop saying what is in yours? Why must you lead when I want to lead? If I want to dance, I will ask you to dance. If I want to speak, I will open my mouth and speak. Everyone is forever begging me to speak further. Why? What good is it to tell you you are in my every thought from the time I wake? What good can come from my saying I sometimes cannot think clearly or do my work properly? What gain can rise from my telling you the only time I feel fear as others do is when I think of you in harm? That is why I am on this porch, Ivy Walker. I fear for your safety before all others. And yes, I will dance with you on our wedding night.
We begin our discussion with our reaction segment that we call Spotlight.
This is Boston, and the church does not want them to be found. So, they are not there.
This is where we highlight and discuss our top takeaways of any kind from rewatching our subject film.
We've got 2 stories here. We've got a story about degenerate clergy, and we've got a story about a bunch of lawyers turning child abuse into a cottage industry.
If there were 90 of these bastards, people would know.
Maybe they do.
This is Spotlight.
They knew, and they let it happen.
All right. Well, welcome back to 20 Years, 4 Beers. We have just finished rewatching The Village and also have had 4 new beers that we will review in a segment coming up. But first, we talk about our immediate reactions in this Spotlight segment. Tim, what do you got?
So I need to just really state right up front. Full qualifier.
Buckle up,
so
folks.
You know what you're getting into if you listen
Gird
to
your
this.
loins.
I unabashedly adore this movie.
Yep.
And I don't know why I thought, like, God, please hold up. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's probably been about 15 years since I've
Absolutely.
seen this. Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. I was like, God, I kind of hope this
please
really
hold
holds. I think even we talked about this on this, like with signs and stuff.
Yes.
Like, this is our, yeah.
Yeah. From start to finish, to me, it is just an unqualified masterpiece.
Sure.
And delivers in every way. And
okay. I have things that I
don't
I have
care.
quibbles.
I don't care. No, I don't care. Well, you'll talk to him, but I
Sure.
will be
Yep.
blind. No, actually, I'm okay with once you think about, like, really this and that
So,
and that.
yeah,
whatever.
we'll get to that. Yeah.
But just, I need to, like, if you are on the fence in this movie or don't like it, I respect it. Cool. For me, I love this movie.
I think, what is it, reticent to the ratings that are out there.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so many negative.
50-some% for the audience score, 44% for critics. I get the critics side, but even like Deadpool Wolverine we talked about, like,
sure.
The critics gave that like 50-some%
Yeah.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
But like the audience score is 80-some. So this is, to be in the 50s is more like, what are we missing?
I do wonder that sometimes, like, is it really that
It's not even that it's
or
bad.
It's like,
Yeah. I don't know. We'll get into it here in a little bit.
so I just felt compelled
Yeah.
to, like, just state right up front, I adore this
Yeah.
movie.
Just so everyone knows.
Yep. Buckle up. Anyway, so.
I have a lot of notes, usually on movies that like...
Me too.
Yeah, usually movies that we go through that we really love. It's kind of like, oh, we'll just sit back and enjoy.
just hang out.
No. Where to begin? Where to begin? I think there are multiple ways to rewatch this movie. And I think just for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, let me just, while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, good. We're recording. So this is a spoiler zone going
full of
forward.
spoilers.
I mean, it's just like
His
that's
movies
just,
have twists.
but right. I'm not gonna stop us from talking about the spoilers. So just there we go. I think there are multiple ways to rewatch this movie. Do you look for the spoiler? Like,
sure,
I'm gonna rewatch this and say, oh, what's gonna tell me what happened here?
Does he, like, foreshadow the twist?
Right.
Yeah.
And there are some,
Sure.
for sure. But I was reading some reviews beforehand, and they were like, totally saw it coming. Like
No.
Did you though?
No.
Really? Like, I tend to think that we are now probably rewatching these from a father standpoint.
Total.
It is
parental
very different than the last time I've probably seen this movie.
Correct.
So,
and that was what I wanted to talk about first. Is like, there's actually, to me, 2 twists.
oh, there are,
this.
there
I
are
didn't-
absolutely 2 twists. Yep,
Didn't appreciate
minimum.
because so again, spoiler.
Yeah,
if you-
established.
If you really think about it, this is just a heartbreaking movie.
Yeah,
and it's like somber and solemn, and all the reviews are like, it's so solemn. But
yep.
What to me works in terms of why I feel it's earned.
Yep,
is it's parceled out throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
You see from the elders of the community these quick little snippets of their background.
Yeah.
Of those stories to their younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily their own generation, but like that next generation.
Yeah.
You start to flesh out this sense of like some shit went down in the city. And you're like, but it's done in a way that's like offhanded.
Time is the city.
But I just think about that trauma they experience and what it means for them to build this community.
Yep. Literally.
So what I just think that's amazing to break down, and watching it again, yes, through the lens of now having kids, what it means of what would you do to build this artifice of protection in the world that I definitely did not appreciate when I first saw. I was actually more when I first saw it, I remember being hung up on in a good way, the romance story.
Oh,
like,
sure. Yeah.
This is a bit of a bait and switch when it comes to this unrequited.
Yeah. Actually, it's multiple bait and switches, but yes.
Sure, but like, that's what brings you in. But now seeing it older, to me, I'm more impacted by the parental story and the aspect of what would you do to really protect your children from the trauma of the world. And I love it's that dual reveal where you find out from when she's tasked to go to town or wants to go and they let her go.
Yeah.
She gets enough of what's behind the scenes to make it interesting. So she finds out the monsters aren't real.
Right.
We've heard legend, but they're not real.
Yeah, it is like we have heard that they are out there, but we're using this as a
means to an end to keep us protected. And then what the audience finds out is that it is nothing like that at all. It's, I guess, 1890s they set this movie in with the Tombstone.
The Tombstone, 1897 was his
prime
kid.
The audience.
Yep. So we're assuming that a fresh gravestone or a tombstone in 1897 is kind of what we're looking for here.
And then, oh no, it is modern day in this preserve. But what I love is the illusion is sustained. So the, drama and the journey and everything works for us as an audience member. We know the true story, but the characters outside the elders don't.
Yes.
And that's what I love coming out of it, is that the twist is not really revealed to the characters.
Right.
We know it, but
sure,
his other twists in the movies of sorts are known to the characters. But this is the first time of his movies where the twist is really known for the audience and the elders, but not the rest.
Yeah.
And that is so fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I think there's a way of viewing this that says that we as humans are inherently curious and fearless. Like, I think, so not only from a parent standpoint, but even we started talking about sort of off air or while we were watching.
Yeah, watching it.
I think there are unintended depths to this movie because I just don't think that Shyamalan is saying, like, I do think there's the parental side that says like what we'll do to protect our, but none of them had kids when they, like,
I think Lucius was born in the picture they had.
Because she had the baby,
a baby,
right?
And I think,
and that was it. Somebody was pregnant,
yeah,
or something.
Like the main guy's
but really,
wife was pregnant. But yeah, I agree.
They
They're
made
all
this
childless.
decision when they're basically childless, or of any kind of child that would have a memory of a world that they were born into.
Exactly.
And so, one part of me says this is parents trying to protect their kids.
Yep.
Which is part of my verdict later.
Yeah.
But then another part says, no, this is also these people trying to escape. They're trying to find a thing, and then on top of that, there's also this sort of unintended thing of these kids, this entire world,
new generation,
new generation. Let's presume they're 20 and under, right? Let's just say Phoenix is the oldest of all of them. And let's say he's 20 and under, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he's 20 and everyone else is under that. There's also this sort of unintended thing that says these are kids who are fearless, who are willing to attack, who are willing to go out into a world with monsters just to protect those they love.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Like, it just... That is an unintended theme here, and I'd be very shocked if he had any understanding of. Let's think about that generation that was born into what we would think would have been 19th century, late 1800s world. And yet, they're so willing. They're looking for love. They're looking for protection. They're looking to protect each other. And like, that's just like this innate human experience that these people in this world would never have thought of. They're trying to protect, these parents are trying to protect themselves,
Yes.
protect their children. But now their children are saying, oh, no, we can actually overcome this thing, these monsters that are outside of it. Totally unintended. I just don't think Shyamalan had anything to do with, like, in terms of he was trying to talk about the parents protecting kids and these kind of parables. And yet there's so many extra depths of this, of saying the human experience of what it is to be human just comes out through these people's kids.
And I love that aspect of, yes, they would, so the elders would build this sanctuary and feeling like we will protect our children from the traumas of the world.
Yeah.
I think one character said
all of them had some sort of heartache. And
heartache is a part of life type of thing. And that's protect them from that.
Yep.
And not fully comprehending in that world, they are going to try. Some surely were like scared of it, but a few would do enough to try and break free from those constraints,
or even overcome.
Lucius,
they have their own heartache though. But they have their own heartache. Like Lucius had this friend who was a silent friend who was like this kid. He has heartache, and now what does he want to do? He wants to protect other people for future heartache. Like just because the elders have this grand heartache of thinking we can escape this world, all we have to do. No, heartache happens all the time
in different iterations.
Yes, is it? Yeah,
I agree.
And I don't think Shyamalan had. I think it was a good idea with like sort of this thing, but you just once you go really deep into this, it is just there's so many layers there.
Yeah, I
You're welcome.
I did that. So many layers. Thinking from a parent. But, for me, I wanted to talk about the aspect of, oddly enough, it struck me watching this, and maybe it's because we watched it as part of our podcasting effort.
Yo.
This has a weird connection with the Truman Show.
Yeah.
To me. In terms of, you've got, they're very different, obviously, in terms of the dynamics, but Lucius pining for something outside their village.
Yeah.
Feeling like I can protect and do more. Of course, Truman was more like, I want to get out of here and like explore the world. But Lucius was like, what can I do to
protect? Yeah.
Protect.
Yeah. Truman wants to explore.
Impacted by the death of this boy at the beginning that we don't know. It's a pre-movie. And then trying to keep the world at bay through the efforts. And I was just like, this is like the Truman Show, but like a very
without cameras, right? Yeah, without the audience,
like the reality TV satire. But while watching it, struck me like, what about it makes sense or like resonates for me? And to me, it was that yearning for, when Truman is pining after, I forget her name, the woman that he met. This at the core of it, that romance, just is unbelievable with Ivy and Lucius. And we don't see Ivy until maybe
20 minutes in. Yeah.
Just kind of like have this like background thing. She's singing. And then her and Lucius, as they come together, I was always struck by it watching it, but then again, seeing it together. It is, to Shyamalan's writing credit, one of the best romantic, true, beautiful romantic movies, and not like sweeping and all this other bullshit, but like, or dumb romantic comedies, but just this unrequited and then slowly builds out together to then when Lucius is attacked. It is like a shift in the feeling to me. People gasped.
You don't know where this movie's going until that point.
It's like, what's happening? But then when he gets attacked, I remember like people in the theater gasped.
I remember
that looked down and saw the knife coming out. And it was like, oh shit, what is going to happen? So anyway, I just think that slow build is so earned. Even though we know the twists
now,
watching it.
it is interesting to look back on it, right? Watching the twist.
But to to Joaquin, and we'll talk about it a little bit, like Joaquin and what, Bryce Dallas?
Oh, yeah, the performances we'll talk about here in a minute.
Those two are great.
So, off of what you're saying, like, first of all, did you know this? So this is a PG-13 movie. Did you know they had to dodge an R-rated movie, an R? There's no sex. There's no violence really of any kind.
No.
Yeah, there's scares.
Yeah.
But apparently there was initially when he does get stabbed, there was like a sound effect that was much more graphic.
Oh my God.
That made that be the
R?
consideration for R.
Jesus.
On top of other things, right? The suspense or whatever.
Sure.
And so they took it out anyway, but apparently it was that close to an R. And I'm like, really?
There's nothing.
Yeah, I haven't dug too deep in that research, but I did see that today where somebody was saying that they had to edit that to avoid an R.
That's stupid.
But really specific to the romance and what you're talking about with Bryce Dallas Howard and Joaquin Phoenix, the porch scene, we'll just call it the porch scene, I guess.
Yep.
Short of the car scene at the end of Sixth Sense.
Sure.
With Haley Joel Osment and his mom.
Yep. Toni Collette.
Yeah, Toni Collette. Thank you. Short of that, I think that porch scene is my favorite M. Night Shyamalan scene. Between Bryce Dallas Howard and Joaquin Phoenix, and he confronts her and is like, Don't tell me when to ask you to dance. Don't tell me what to do. Like, he finally kind of comes out of his little shell.
Yes.
And puts her in her place in the right way. Like, no, but I'm just saying, like, in that world,
Yes.
of these kids being, like, raised in a sense of the man's supposed to be a certain way and the woman's supposed to be a certain way, and she's very tomboyish, but in that world, that scene is so great because he finally says, no. I am the one who is not in charge, is the wrong way, but I'm the man here. I'm supposed to do this. And don't tell me when to take the lead. Don't tell me to do this. And it works so well. And it's sort of like she is like feeling comfortable then. Like she feels like she can be herself with him or whatever. Like that scene is so good for their connection that when down the road they willingly send a blind girl out into this world, regardless of what we know and the twist, and regardless of what we know in the world out there, that she's ultimately, in their minds, safe, not knowing that Noah is out there sort of like doing his thing. They're thinking she's safe, like not knowing any of that. For her, she doesn't know any of that. Like, that is enough for them to say she's ready to go out into the world, whatever. Yes. I love that scene. I just, and we, that was the clip, I put in or whatever but that porch scene is one of my favorites.
So can I juxtapose it
Please
slightly? In as much as I think from a cinematic, like visceral experience, my favorite Shyamalan scene of all time is the nighttime attack sequence when she's holding her hand out, waiting for him.
Sure, yeah.
He's like, Luce is still out there.
He will come, and
boom, he grabs her and comes in slow-mo, like orchestra.
That's slow-mo when he shuts the door. Yeah.
Unbelievable. But I think
that's unlike much of what we've seen from M. Night before then.
Totally. It's like, that was like, oh, dude, you can do movies. But why I offer that is because that's the primer for when they go down into the basement or the cellar.
Yeah.
And he's holding her hand. Mm-hmm. And is like that first glimpse of his protective view of her. So it's not forced then when, yes, I totally agree. When this unassuming scene is happening and her like precocious, unassuming kind of like perspective with him is like this like toying around, and it is his element.
Yeah, she's got that innocence to her a little bit.
But it breaks it down for him where he is just like, I don't speak of these things because you're the first thing I think about, the last thing. Like, I want to do these things, and I am like, it's so earned.
Yeah,
because if it came out of nowhere,
that scene is so good.
It would just be like,
yeah,
dude, this is a hard pivot.
Yeah,
but it's because of, I think, that stereotypical protection sequence.
Yep.
And then it comes out of nowhere to the point where we talk about, like, to her credit, she's just like staring at him,
dude.
And
yeah,
her
we were
tear
recording.
comes down the other side. It's just, I agree. That scene,
I
I'm
think
so glad you mentioned it
I think we need to pivot over to Bryce here in a second.
We'll get there. We'll get there. But
Okay.
I think I just want to clarify. I think it's the combination of these scenes where I agree. To me, it's the most beautiful cinematic sequence he's ever done.
Beautiful.
But it's emotionally earned a few scenes later.
Yep.
Because then when they connect, because it's beautiful and earned, so then when he is stabbed, it's heartbreaking and awful.
And
Like when
silent.
she walks in the room.
Oh, yes.
And like trips on him. Oh. Anyway,
Yep.
So, yes, Dallas or Bryce Dallas Howard.
Okay,
Let's
now
just do
we're
it.
pivoting.
Let's just do it. Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
Not to control.
No, that's fine. Please do.
Is there like a I get recency bias watching it?
Yeah.
But I still remember seeing it. Is there like a? She's easily in the top 5 entrance performance for me.
Yeah, I don't think
like,
she had a
she was on
film
stage
role before that. She was stage role. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So like
and I
coming
guess
into a
Knight
movie,
saw her on stage.
something.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's cast her.
Yep.
She is unreal.
Yep.
And not just like, oh, you're great, but her precocious, beguiling, blind, like all these aspects. I don't know how she does it. And carries
How
this,
many
like,
blind people do you know? You ever met any? Like, do you
Never.
know? Yeah, I don't know any
Never.
blind people.
True.
So, for all of our blind listener,
If we're wrong,
there ain't out
forgive
there.
us.
Yeah, tell me. But yeah, she is legitimately like makes you believe that she's blind.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, even the dancing.
Yes.
When they're dancing around or whatever, she's always a step behind. Like her eyesight's
doesn't
just
know
a
where the
little bit
movement's
behind.
going. Yes.
Yeah. The only person, and I guess we didn't. I don't remember if she was Kate Hudson's performance in Almost Famous her first movie. I feel like they were made maybe a little bit something before then.
I mean,
but
maybe.
really major motion picture,
Sure.
obviously it was her first.
Yeah.
That's the last
I agree.
time I really think of somebody who was this fucking good
Yes.
in a movie in their first major role.
Yes.
I know in 108-9 episodes or whatever here, I know we've talked about other people who were like early on in their
Yes.
whatever. No, it is Kate Hudson and Bryce Dallas Howard.
And like
in terms of
the girl
first,
from Whale Rider, maybe.
yeah, Keisha Castle
Yeah.
Hughes,
Like you're carrying this movie.
yes, but even then,
Yes.
Whale Rider though, I think what I'm saying is Almost Famous in this movie, like, were big budget films. Whale Rider
True. Yeah.
is a sort of like indie. I think we even talked about it. The fact that we even like talked about Whale Rider 20 years on is a damn miracle. Just the fact that we saw it back then was a miracle, let alone talking about it 20 years on. This is an M. Night Shyamalan movie. We have six.
Yeah.
We have
different
Sixth
caliber.
Sense, Unbreakable and Signs before this. This is a major motion picture, and then you have Almost Famous with Cameron Crowe and like major motion,
Yeah, I'll give you that.
so in terms of like these major motion pictures, the fact that she comes on here and is just heartbreakingly great.
Yes.
So I looked at, it was a legitimately good year for what I would assume would be supporting actress.
Sure.
Like she's good. Like she comes in 20 minutes. There's a whole lot of other things.
Yes.
She'd been up for supporting, not lead actress.
It is weird to think about, like, she is the center of the story.
Yeah, but she's not really
until 20 minutes in.
Right.
Yes.
So Kate Blanchett wins for The Aviator, and I think rightfully so.
Mhm.
Virginia Madsen is up for Sideways. Natalie Portman for Closer. Laura Linney. look, I don't like Kinsey that much, but Laura Linney is Laura Linney. And then Sophie Okonedo, who's Hotel Rwanda, which we're not covering this year, but Hotel Rwanda is one of my all-time favorite movies.
It's great.
So, like, yeah, who do you put her over? Like, I get that. I get it. But Bryce Dallas Howard is so freaking great in this that I think we end up talking about her at the end of the year in our potentially our supporting actress at the end of the year kind of thing for our end of the year awards. Like, again, she's not blind, and yet I believe she's blind the whole way through. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe her except now maybe it's downhill from here for Bryce Dallas Howard. Like, she's done a great job across the board, but this seems to be the peak of what she's done on film.
I would agree. It's the right out the gates pinnacle. But what's great about her performance is, again, when we talk about layers, this world was designed by these elders to protect from strife, problems, any type of struggle in the world, and she's blind. And so it is, again, just like a right. It's almost like a chastising of this world they built. Yeah. And in that world where she, by being blind, would have been almost an affront to this design. Yeah. She is engaging. She's wonderful. She's more than
she probably is her parents, like this sort of precocious, like, world. I'm going to take over the world regardless of what is my physical disability.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what is such a criticism of the artifice they've built. Mm-hmm. But then, yes, she is a means to an end. She's the only one that truly can go beyond the borders because she can sustain the illusion. And so, again, it's all these layers connecting that you couldn't have somebody else go forward. And what I love about her performance is, so when she is told the monsters aren't real, and
where in her mind, where
it's very unlikely.
Yeah, we've heard rumors about this, and so we use this as to our advantage.
Yes, but of course she has no idea, like, it's in the modern day. Yeah. But she's walking with these magic stones, rocks. Yeah. And of course she's got to go with two stewards to get her there, and they're obviously terrified.
Of course. Right. Yeah.
And she's her face is weighing out this, like, you dumb MFers. I cannot wait to leave you behind because like every moment I waste on you is a moment that Lucius is dying. Yeah. And so it's not this like pressure, but she's got to also know that she's sustaining the illusion for them. Yeah. And it's just like, but there's no words said. It's just her performance of get out of my way so I can go. So like the moment they leave her, she just dumps the rocks, which is the best part for her. Like for me, it's just like, she's like, F this noise.
I'm done.
I'm done with this illusion. Yep. Get out of my way. I'm going. To then when she has to then explore and get into the pit, climb out. And, you know, when she's, you know, she screams when he's dying, like, or attacked, like across the board. Bryce Dallas Howard is
she's outstanding.
Real in this. So, quick thought.
Yeah.
Maybe not quick.
Yeah, we got time.
What's your thought on the whole Adrian Brody Noah character and the mental disability thing? Like, I struggle with it, honestly. I get they need to like build the tension. Mm-hmm. So as an audience member, you're watching it and all these animals are being skinned and they're being, you know, flayed about, which perturbs the elders because they're like, what's happening? Because they know it's all fake.
Right.
Audience is going, God, these monsters are terrible. So it builds a tension for that. Mm-hmm. And yet it's kind of off-putting in some ways to have a portrayal of this individual, you know, he's the one that stabs Lucius. And then he goes out and finds these costumes and decides, like, could he have been portrayed as, quote unquote, forgive me, normal? But just like, he just maybe was, evil in some ways. I don't know. Like I struggle with the whole like
So-
mental disability being a means to an end of a story of like, oh, he's a bad guy type of thing.
I don't take Noah as a bad guy in any way, shape, or form.
Sure, and that's my maybe like,
in that I
reason,
think
like,
that Noah is born into just like everyone else.
Yep.
Although I assume Adrian Brody's probably the oldest of all of them. He's born into the situation, and he was like,
sure,
these parents who decided to do this have brought them in, and
Yes.
so like Noah is a modern like result of mental health, whether it be medical or whether like
or he could have been born there,
right.
and he just
But I'm
was
saying
this
like
way.
I don't look. The reality is, in the mid to late 1800s, if somebody like Noah is born that way, he's probably dead before he ever reaches that age.
Exactly.
Like it just like I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Yes.
So, like he is a product of a modern age put into this late 1800s world where they're trying to keep up this sort
Sure.
of facade. The only thing I don't like about Noah is the skinning of the animals.
Right?
That's the only thing where I'm like, where does this come from?
It's like that's pretty excessive.
Like Noah clearly thinks that most of this is a game.
yes,
He thinks that the running around, the putting on a costume,
playing like I'm not fighting. But I'm
at some
playing,
point,
yes.
Noah has left the safety of this world.
Yes.
He has seen, but he can't speak to what he's seen. He's seen the truth, but he can't speak to it.
Yes.
And so he's thinking this is just a big game that everyone's involved in or whatever.
Yes.
So that's where the mental health that's where the mental sort of like disability comes into play. But the one of like skinning the animals, that is a thing. It's on my list of quibbles that does not
Like once you know,
right
You're like,
where, but they
what?
also don't deliver on it. At no point do we see the skins. Like we don't see it. Like, but one thing if they go into Noah's room
Like,
and he's got
piled
the
up
skins
or-
or whatever,
yes.
like there's no delivery off of that. That feels just like forced into
building tension.
right.
Yes.
On top of that, I do sometimes wonder where the F do the kids think their parents are
I was there.
when these creatures
Or
come
attacking.
in.
I just go in the basement.
Yeah,
We'll
let's
come
all go in the
find you.
basement. Where the fuck do you think your parents are?
I had the same thought.
They're
None of-
in the costumes,
Yes.
Dim. Like seriously,
None of the elders are in the
no,
sequences.
nobody.
Below ground.
Nope, no. They're just like after 20 freaking years. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Where's mom and dad? I don't know. This is a small freaking village.
Yes.
There's like 8 buildings in the entire damn thing.
Yes.
Like, where do you think your parents are? They're not out at the movies. Like, I do not understand.
Yeah.
So,
We'll be back, kids.
right. It's like, also, quibble, these parents really freaking hate their kids. Like, they really want to scare the absolute living fuck out of their kids to just be like, you know what? We're going to leave them alone. They're all babysitting the kids. We're all having our orgy in the woods. And we're just going to go scare the shit out of them. Like, what? Like, I always think the one thing I think would have been better for me would have been having 1 or 2 in the costumes.
Sure.
And then like at no point are the parents, the elders,
Yeah.
anywhere to be seen
Yes.
when it comes to when these
Mm-hmm.
creatures show up. Like if you're gonna have this presuming like I guess
Like
you're
rotate
presuming it's a
through.
rotation.
Yeah.
Where the hell is everyone else? Like, where's the rotation here?
Yes.
That's where I just think like I'd be fine with that if in your reveal somehow you suggest that there's people who are employed by Walker to be
Sure.
in those costumes. Like
Yeah.
to really, really hammer this home, like these people are employed by them.
Yeah.
But beyond that, yeah, where are the parents?
Yeah.
They're nowhere to be found. So
It is an odd. So yeah. Cool. Yeah.
it's
I'll lean into the
I mean,
quibbles.
it's not even a quibble necessarily, just to
No.
say like after 20 freaking years, I mean, I assume they rotate, but in our view of what we see in this film, we have no indication that the parents are anywhere to be found
Yeah.
when these creatures show up.
Yeah. Also, you never thought about bringing, I don't know, a whole stockpile of penicillin, but whatever. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you never thought to
I
have,
know.
like,
In the
you're
70s, it existed.
You're hiding all these, black boxes, these costumes, but
Yeah.
you never had
You
a
could've brought
second
medicine?
shed you don't go into.
Yes.
That's just simple medicine.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, we're not going to town, but we might want to have a supply chain that comes in and
I
brings
know.
in these
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
Yeah, you don't have to have Band-Aids.
Again, this is not a perfect film.
No. Again,
From a storytelling
pull it
standpoint.
apart, yeah.
Right.
And
if
I
you
agree.
want, yeah.
You're also then generationally forcing different types of trauma on your new generation
Right.
by this whole we're scaring you by these creatures.
Yeah.
But by doing so, we're going to keep you from the true worst horrors of the world. But what I love about is Brendan Gleeson's character.
Yeah.
The movie starts with clearly some young boy died.
Yep.
And he's going to have to bury him.
Mhm.
And again, I love that idea of he's the one that when it's revealed of the elders that William Hurt's character has decided I'm allowing her to go. And he's just like, yeah, okay. Like he's the one that I think of all of them has experienced village-based trauma.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's just like, if it works, great. We'll keep it going. But we'll see what happens. And I love that aspect of he's the one that's like, hopefully it works. If not, but it's never like fleshed out big, huge scene, but he's so subtle. And like the nighttime sequence when Lucius is bringing wood into his house to help the fire. And it's like, oh, yeah, when we came here and just that. It's a tiny hint of, again, all these things get pieced out eventually to come together. But I just love the idea that you cannot keep the awful things of the world at bay.
That's, exactly.
And you have to grapple with these things. And to the fact that when she comes in at the end and they're all still like naively hopeful, the elders are like, Noah's death is going to keep the illusion, but she's there and she's experienced the trauma enough of like, I killed one of these things.
Yeah.
But she doesn't in the real world. I just, so many layers. And to his credit.
But then I always ask, does she actually understand that there's a world? Maybe she doesn't get everything.
Yeah.
But does she understand that there's a world out there that we're trying to protect our existence from? And so maybe she is the first of the next generation. Because the only way that this exists is if the next generation keeps it going.
Yeah.
So M. Night does not have a sequel to his credit, as far as I'm aware.
I mean,
kind of with Split
and then Glass were in the same universe. And
but
Glass
they're not like true
extension of Unbreakable.
Number 2.
True. Yeah.
But like, I do kind of feel like, man, what it'd be interesting to see a sequel, because as far as we as an audience are aware, this has succeeded. So now 20 years or whatever on, you kind of go, what happens in this world that maybe the next generation is really fighting this? And I don't know. It's
Because
curious because you could really go. You actually could really go dark.
Well, but
protecting this world of like Truman Show, like forcing these kids into like staying there to keep this existence going.
Like,
or
at what
whatever.
point do you reveal the information to the next generation?
Exactly, right.
To sustain this illusion, knowing there's actually a larger illusion.
Right.
But to William Hurt's character's credit, like, he's so great. We're like, why do we do this? To think beyond us and that kind of thing. And so it would be interesting to think about how they could.
William Hurt, though, as you mentioned him,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude.
His delivery is odd. Like how he, but it works for this movie in terms of
It's
if we're
always
gonna
been
build
a
anachronistic world of the 1890s.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel forced.
No, but that
of how he speaks.
He is so good.
Yes.
Not on this movie, but it's just a reminder of how good William Hurt is as an actor, or was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, he is just effortlessly great in this movie. Like everyone else in this movie, to me, it's Bryce Dallas Howard, of course. everyone else in this movie is great, but like just above everyone else is William Hurt.
Yeah.
Like that scene where they're just sitting out there, and I think I'll probably play it as a clip, but they were all deciding to send, or he decided without their permission to send her out to the towns. Like, this is bigger than us. Like, at some point, we have to decide this is bigger than us, and we have to send this person out.
Like, and to him, this was a crime. This wasn't just like,
this was not a natural, right? Yeah,
whatever happened.
We assume, we assume he was
natural
causes or whatever. No, somebody
injustice has
stabbed this kid. Yes,
and that's where it's like, this is the things we wanted to prevent to the world have come here now.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do about this? And I will give my daughter the chance to save the love of her life. And I just think the whole romantic story is amazing. And we talk about like a hero's journey. To Shyamalan's credit, there's few stories of like that type of female-driven, like journey of I'm going to do what I need to do to save this love of my life. And I think it totally works. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah. What do you got?
James Newton Howard's score.
Yeah. We hadn't talked about score yet.
I just had to like mention, like, it is just achingly beautiful.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it being like, I'm going to buy the CD tomorrow and have the score forever. And it is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's a rare movie that, well, not rare, but like, I think it's his best score, without doubt.
I have it too. It's probably my favorite, but it's not objectively like
thematic.
Yeah.
Like a Williams kind of like.
Well, but he's got Dark Knight and Batman Begins and King Kong, and he's been nominated for 9 Oscars.
Yes.
None of which were just mentioned until this one. But yeah, I love that the very first credit is the featured violinist. Like, it is an actual character in that score. So beautiful. Like, it is outstanding.
Yes.
I can't remember. It wasn't $1 Million Baby. Like, I wonder what won best
Finding
score.
Neverland won that year, which to me, I always go, I've never seen it.
Really?
No. And
it's
maybe
good.
It's fine.
It's good. It's Oscar baity for sure, but
There's
the score's
no way
good.
The music is better.
Yeah, but who was it?
Alexandre Desplat or
Yeah,
whatever.
probably, and that would have been right. Yeah, because Newton Howard does not have an Oscar to his name, so yeah, the theme is that violin alone is great.
So I could waste so much more time talking about all the tiny details. I just unabashedly love this movie.
Yeah, I do think like we just sit here at very hidden layers with this movie, unintended. I mean, it just is what it is. So,
well, last thing I say, like the elder thing, where William Hurt's character Sigourney Weaver, who's really solid in this,
very very small.
Yes, like very subtle.
Yeah,
but when Lucius says to her, like, he has feelings for her because he doesn't ever touch you. Like, it doesn't add anything to the story.
No.
In the grand scheme of things, it just girds these unrequited love elements of it.
Right.
So then when he comes to her later and says, "It's all I can give you."
Yeah.
It's a confirmation of, this is the best I can do for you because I'm with my wife.
Yeah.
And all these things, but I want to do what I can to help your son with my daughter. And it's just,
you feel like if you were in the real world, they would have left, like he would have left his wife for Sigourney Weaver. Like they have, but in this new existence that they chose, this is the best that we can do.
Yeah, but to the wife's credit, when she's telling him,
you cannot go
do this.
Right.
Like
you.
And it's just
yes,
such wonderful subtlety where it's not fleshed out like, hello audience, but it's enough to be like,
hello audience.
But it's not like unrequited in the sense of he's with someone who's terrible.
Right.
It's just a different, like, we built this world and the challenges. So I just think all the layers are absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Okay. I love this movie.
You good?
I love this movie. Yep.
I'm going up there. I'm going to try it. I'm going to let the jury decide.
As we close out our Spotlight segment, we come to our final takes called The Verdict.
If we are to have faith and justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
This is where Tim and I give our final verdicts after rewatching the film and decide whether or not the movie held up over the course of 2 decades.
Now you get out of here before I call the bailiff and have you thrown in jail.
This is The Verdict.
I said to hell with it, to hell with it.
A film about the dangerous blind spots of nostalgia and what it would take, or could take, to perpetuate the illusion of safety. The Village is an understandably, I think, divisive film once you find out what's going on. However, for me, I think this is without a doubt Shyamalan's masterpiece from start to finish because of the layers and because of the details that it would build this world, or what it takes to build this world. Somber, beautiful, heartbreaking, sweepingly romantic, and focused in the ways of how far parents will go to protect their children that I did not appreciate when I first saw it. Truly an all-star performance from Bryce Dallas Howard coming out of nowhere and just killing it. And we didn't talk about much, but actually I think a subtle performance from Phoenix.
Yep.
Where he is such a commanding yet silent aspect of this film. All of that, the two of them together lends a gorgeous weight to the romance set against the backdrop of deception and terror. 4.5 out of 5 for me. I love this movie.
Yeah. We didn't talk about Phoenix at all. Really. And even in Signs, he's the same kind of just like quiet,
he hadn't really come into
performance.
his like full stature of a amazing actor, but he's so good in this.
Yeah. So for me, The Village is an example of what great filmmakers can do when they have a good idea and are given the permission to make that idea become a reality. It is a parable told through the eyes of M. Night Shyamalan, much less direct than Lady in the Water. One that shows us both what parents will do to protect their children from a big and terrible world, and what children will do to overcome the situation they are born into. While the twist ending may be a detriment in ways, there are things that seem a little audience servicey in some ways. That should be viewed more as a reflection of the time rather than a negative towards the film itself. Featuring a career-defining performance by Bryce Dallas Howard, a superb performance from literally everyone else involved. The Village is M. Night Shyamalan at his best and is absolutely one that everyone should see. I have 4.5 out of 5 as well.
Come on, not my beer.
With our reactions and verdicts to the movie out of the way, we move on to the reactions to our beers that we drank while rewatching our subject movie.
And if you want to have sex with a disgusting bad brewer with a terrible attitude,
this is where we take a look back at our beers and give our expert ratings for our drinking buddies.
Ugh, whatever. Hey, here's the truth.
This is Drinking Buddies.
Let's get weird.
So when we were looking at beers to enjoy, I must admit, as I was looking through our list, a bit of a disservice to our last episode.
I was just going to say,
Hour.
yeah,
we'll get there.
We didn't even address the fact that we're not covering 99 films like I talked about in the last one.
Yes,
but whatever, that's fine.
In terms of, were we to decide, there's a lot of beer shit in the world.
Sure.
Where would our utopian existence occur from a beer, Let's
I have
build,
a couple.
Let's build a preserve.
Yeah. North Park of San Diego. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. So all of our beers tonight were from the San Diego.
Yeah, Will's Vagina.
Which is the last time, I didn't even cover a San Diego beer. Low-hanging fruit, right, of Anchorham.
When you said we were going to do this, I was like, oh my God, how did we not have a single, not belching beaver, nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. Nope. So forgive us. But we started the evening with Coronado Brewing Company, partnering with Pizza Port Brewing Company out of Carlsbad area.
Yeah, it was a collab.
Yeah, collab. They're El Royal India Pale Ale. It was a 3.5 out of 5 for me. It was kind of just don't forget your burp. It was kind of mid for me. I don't know if I was expecting more, but I was like, meh, it's fine. It didn't have much to stand out for me. It was just a like West Coast, it says.
Yeah.
I was expecting more bite to it, to be honest, but overall I was like, meh, it's okay. Again, I was maybe expecting too much.
Yeah, I ended up at a 4, actually, largely because typically you get collabs between big brewers that are just useless.
Yeah, like, no thanks.
This at least was enjoyable.
Sure. Very true.
But so it's kind of like, okay, I mean, and I don't particularly like Coronado Brewing much at all.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I went a little bit high for those 2 reasons, but it was a totally drinkable, straight up IPA.
Pizza Port.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Pizza Port has much better beer out there.
Very true.
Yeah.
Which we found in the area this week, which is great.
There we go.
Another option of San Diego. Our old friend Stone. God, I love you, Stone.
I know.
It's their, not like I ever want to quit them, not like surly, but I'm always like, you just keep on delivering.
Yep.
28th anniversary hazy double IPA with I believe it was Mosaic and Nelson Sauvin.
Wow.
It was a 3.75 for me, actually.
years.
I kind of expected, maybe I'm too high expecting this, but like it was good.
Yeah.
It's solid for them, but it didn't stand out to me in terms of like, this is going to be a 28th anniversary, knock your socks off. It was fine. 3.75 for me.
Sure. I think we're discovering what happens when Steve has 4 beers before we start. I have a 4 out of 5. No, I mean, I have 4 out of 5. Again, it's Stone. It's good. They actually don't do a ton of hazies, at least in terms of mass releasing hazies. Typically, it's, Fear Movie Lions and some of their sort of West Coast IPAs.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, it's actually pretty solid. I have a 4 out of 5.
Good. And then another one that's, again, big footprint that's beyond the area, but I'm always like, maybe I'll get stuff, maybe not. AleSmith, out of, again, Notes, San Diego.
Yep.
Their Oktoberfest, because it is October. I actually really like this one, actually. It was a solid version for me.
All right.
I had a 4 out of this. It was
okay.
It tasted good. I like it.
So, also, this is what happens when Tim does not tell me what we're drinking between,
What you think it was like?
No, I got a dark room.
Sure.
There's no, I can't read it. I can't read the can. You hand me a can, I'll drink it. I've got a West Coast IPA, a hazy IPA, and then an Oktoberfest. My very first thought was like, what the F happened with this beer? I thought it was terrible. I thought it was 3 out of 5. I was like, this is terrible. I ended up moving up to 3.5 once I realized what I was drinking. I was like, again, I probably should have done a little research before that, but it was fine. It was good. I don't particularly like AleSmith that much across the board, though.
Sure.
There's just something sort of off about it. But
it didn't
3.5 3.5 out of 5 is totally fine.
Yeah, it didn't have like a hoppy flavor like surly. Or
in my
like
head, I thought we were just
but-
having IPAs all night. Like, was like, oh, no.
Not yet.
No. And then here we
the
have.
next one.
Yep.
And then we had straight up Pizza Port.
Yes.
Brewing Company. They're, at first I'm like, bacon and eggs? What the hell? But it's a bacon and eggs Imperial Coffee Porter. What you get? Porter, stout, whatever. It's a dark beer. I don't get the difference. But it was a 4 for me. I thought it was a really solid option. And nice thing is, whenever I hear like Imperial, I'm like, oh boy, it's only 8%.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like it's going to be like really impactful. But no, it was good. I liked it a lot.
I think it was the best beer of the night. I had 4.25 out of 5. Yeah, had a ton of flavor to it. Really good. You could taste the coffee without it being over the top. This might be one of my favorite Pizza Port beers. Like it was really well done.
Very nice.
Yep, very good.
The exciting quiz program 21.
Our final segment of the episode is Quiz Show.
I have stood on the shoulders of life, and I've never gotten down into the dirt to build.
Where in our research for our subject film, we find some interesting trivia nuggets that we hope will stump the other and possibly intrigue you.
This is not McCarthyism. We're not here to expose for the sake of exposure.
This is Quiz Show.
Well, evidently certain of the contestants were given the answers in advance.
Cheating on a quiz show. It's like plagiarizing a comic strip.
I have 5.
Oh, shit. I had 4. I thought.
Surprising number.
Oh, my God. I guess you should go first. Mine are predominantly Bryce Dallas Howard featured, actually. So we'll see what we got. What do you got?
Okay. We're going to talk through James Newton Howard a little bit here.
5. I remember when we first started this, it was like, maybe keep it a 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. We'll be like an hour and a half into this.
Skull F
Just
you.
trivia.
What
do you got? James Newton Howard.
His film scoring debut for what 1984 David Lynch directed sci-fi classic.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why should I know this? It's not Dune.
Sure is.
Is it? I thought it was
Yes.
86. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Dune. There we go. All right.
Right? I was like, what?
I had it in my head that was later.
It was
Okay,
like a,
84.
It was like a small part that he had like a not his full score, but like it was just like he
Yeah.
has
That's his
components
first
of it.
credit. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I was like, what the shit?
Boom! I'm going to take that shit,
Do it.
motherfucker.
Do it.
I
thought it was 86.
It's those mid-80s.
Shut up.
All right. So Bryce Dallas Howard as Ivy
Mhm.
and Judy Greer as Kitty are sisters in this film.
Correct.
And the two would actually later go on to star as sisters again. In what 2015 mega hit?
Only because I have this one in my. So I only have 4 trivia now. But it's funny because yes, it came out Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Nice. I actually didn't think about it until doing the research. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit,
They're
that's
actually
right.
sisters.
That's so yes. So yes.
There you go.
That was a bit of a
Well, you got that one right.
nice. I'm gonna do another one for James
Okay.
Newman
What do you
Howard,
got?
because I just think it's actually interesting to think about. You think about movie scores, but also his
Sure.
world outside of it. He's worked with countless pop and music stars, including, buckle up, Ringo Starr, Carly Simon, Elton John, Neil Diamond, Toto, Shaka Khan, Barbra Streisand, Eric Clapton, Rod Stewart, and Chicago. He's a big synthesizer player. Nominated for, like I said, best score 7 times. 2 of the extra ones were for best song.
Yeah.
However, he does have a Grammy, which I did not realize was a thing, for best original score for what 2008 comic book film with Hans Zimmer. Speaking of Dune, yeah. So Grammy 2008 comic book film
With Hans Zimmer.
2008.
Is it Dark Knight?
It sure is.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, and he wasn't even up for an Oscar that year.
No, he was not.
I
Stupid
know.
as it is. Oh, Oscars. But yeah,
I
I
know.
didn't realize that Grammys have a best original movie score.
Oh yeah, and that's where a
Which
lot
makes
of
sense.
that's why EGOTs are mostly composers
yes.
/
Yeah.
songwriters.
He does have a Grammy for The Dark Knight. Nice.
There you go. All right. So Tim, Bryce Dallas Howard was not originally cast as Ivy.
Oh, yikes. Oh, boy. Okay.
So she was offered the role after another actress dropped out in order to do another film. The 2 actresses would actually go on to star alongside each other in Spider-Man 3. What actress was originally cast as Ivy?
Kirsten Dunst?
That's correct.
What?
Yeah, she dropped out to do Elizabethtown with Cameron
Oh,
Crowe.
thank God she dropped out. I mean,
Yeah, for Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah.
She would have been not good.
Yeah,
I mean,
think-
maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. You never know. It would have just been, I mean, like, Kristen Dunst tends to be lifeless in her face, but that's not entirely on purpose. That's just
No.
her sort of natural
But she would have been
look.
as precocious.
Right.
It's like-
Whereas Bryce Dallas Howard sort of was like that sort of, not
Yes.
lifeless, but just sort of like, I can't see,
Yes.
but I still am curious.
Yes.
Yeah, Kristen Dunst doesn't have that layer.
No, that's not.
No, it would have been bad. So, yes, you are correct, though. Kristen Dunst
Nice.
was originally involved.
She's Gwen Stacy. Or
No.
Bryce is.
No, yeah, Bryce. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
I did not. I thought she was the only one cast.
Nope.
Okay. Good to know. So we're going to do a bit of a book trivia. for you. Shyamalan is said to have based the Gothic love story on what 1847 romance novel by English author Emily Bronte.
Oh my
It's
God.
her only publication ever.
Emily Bronte. You fucker. It's not Little Women.
It is not.
It's Wuthering Heights.
Yes! You got it!
Bookstore knowledge, you motherfucker.
Yeah, that one, 1847.
Wuthering Heights.
Nice work.
Never read it at all.
Never.
There we go.
Yes.
A boom.
Nice work.
We're going to call that drunk knowledge right there.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes the synapse is just firing the right way.
There you go.
Nice.
All right. So, in a somewhat cosmic coincidence, Judy Greer, as we already said, stars as Kitty in this film with Bryce Dallas Howard. Yet, Greer would go on to play another Kitty in what Ron Howard
that's right.
produced the television series.
Arrested Development.
That's right.
I didn't until you mentioned Kitty. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh my God, that's right.
She played Kitty twice for the
Yes.
Howards.
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's so perfect. I've made a huge mistake. Oh my
Love
God.
it. I know. I've made a
Nice.
terrible mistake.
That's right.
Do you have another one? Or?
I do, yes.
Okay.
William Hurt and Sigourney Weaver have actually starred in 2 other films besides The Village. A murder mystery in 1981 and a 2008 spy thriller. Care to give a guess at what those movies are?
2001?
2008. Okay.
No, 1981.
A step back here. 81, a murder mystery, and a 2008 spy thriller. The first one, never heard of. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
2000, but I'm more like,
You're welcome.
2008
Mm-hmm.
spy thriller.
Yep.
I know I've heard of that one.
Yes.
For sure.
You'll be like, ah.
Yeah, but I'm also like 1981. Was it like a romantic comedy or something?
No, it's
or
just like
a movie.
That's just a murder mystery movie.
Murder mystery movie with Sigourney Weaver and
Yep.
William Hurt.
Journalism.
Huh. We're really long on time, so I guess I don't really.
Eyewitness is the movie.
Sure. In
Never heard of
81.
it until
Okay.
research today.
But 08, the
Yep.
two of them. I feel like, is that the one?
It's with Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah,
The
where,
main
like-
guy from Lost.
Yeah, is that the? It's so I can remember. It's where like the
Different
same assassination is
perspectives.
from different perspectives of the.
Perhaps a
Yeah, what do you got?
vantage point.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I was like, I can
Yep.
remember it, but I'm not gonna give myself that one. But I know.
No,
Okay,
you're like,
all right.
oh, that one. Yep, that's good.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the episode. Be sure to find all of our previous episodes on your favorite streaming platforms and watch out for our upcoming happy hour on Dawn of the Dead and for future episodes on, well, now I guess we're going to do the films
get
of
there.
1999. We'll get there eventually, which include Fight Club, The Green Mile, and Magnolia. Find us on the web via the metaverse of Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, and head to 20years4beers.com for more info. Watch out for some new video content on YouTube, including the Never Dead high fidelity segments, except for not this time around, and also possibly even a TikTok channel. We want to say thank you for taking the time to listen and for clicking that like or subscribe button on your devices. This has been 20 Years 4 Beers. My name's Steve.
And Tim.
And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Some shit went down in the city.
Time is the city. For all of our blind listener, who the fuck do you think your parents are?
Achingly beautiful.
I
thought it was already said.
Yeah, it's those mid 80s.
Shut up.
Yeah.